I'm going to have to turn it on. Welcome to guard your privacy and abide by community guidelines. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Happy Oyster Show. I'm your host, Bart Burke, and we got Freddie the Angry Bayman sitting down. Give us a thumbs up, Fred. How about a, how about a smile? You got a smile too?
Yeah, no way. Yeah, I gotta smile because there's ice.
But there's no wind.
There's no wind.
I got to turn this off. Turn this down. Boom. Okay, we're good there. All right. Oh, sorry for the hand there. So we've been working. We've been spending some money. We're approximately we are at our budget for our first year, and that's good because our second year, Fred, is about to start. Did you know that? We're coming up on season 2 of the Happy Oyster Show. I can't believe that myself.
I know that because
March the 10th, I think.
on my Facebook page it showed
What'd you do last year at this time?
what I did last year at this time, and it showed a picture of the
Oh, why does it do that?
bottom of the
Do, do, do,
tumbler
do.
when you were fiberglassing at the bike shop.
Oh, yeah, baby. Those were the days. Those were the days. This thing is cheesy. All right, that's better. So we went to Massachusetts this week, and I went and got wire. Bank. Give you a little demo. There they are over there. There's 3 rolls, 3 more rolls. You saw what the rolls were the last time around. Waiting for everybody that's coming on in. We got 16 people. Bring it on home. Who is the old guy? The old guy is Fast Freddy, the Angry Bayman. If you didn't know Fast Freddy, the Angry Bayman. All right, so we're over here. All right, so we went to Catch 'em Supply this week, and we got some. Oh, I got to come over here for my notes. Fred, you staying over there?
I'm staying right here. We got rope.
We got rope. Did we ever? And we got a little Knotty. We're getting a little Knotty over here. Uh, at this rate, when will the first harvest? 18 months. Well, with a little luck, if we get the right size seed, we should be golden here. Maybe. Oh, I don't know. I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna commit. Why should I commit?
Why? Because we'll be eating oysters at this time next year.
This time next year, we definitely should be. I'm hoping. I hope so, man. We should be definitely having something. I can't read the comments as quickly that much. I don't have Tony Joe here today. Tony Joe went up to Massachusetts for Patriots. The Patriots are playing. I was up there yesterday. Yeah, the stupid bowl. He says he's never seen the Super Bowl.
No.
50. You know, I know it's 50 Super Bowl 53 because that's how old I am. 53.
No, I've been in the bar when it was on, but I've never watched it.
Many moons ago.
Many moons ago.
When you still used to go to bars.
Right, pre-1983.
So it's been cold, Freddie. We've been getting a little ice around. Went over to the plot, checked out the plot yesterday from the shore, obviously, and there is ice on the plot. The reason I wanted to go over and check out the plot is that Freddie and I have been talking about maybe going out and adventuring out to the plot in a small dinghy, launch the dinghy, go out there, do our thing, go check it out. We want to take some depths. The reason we want to take some depths is because we need to figure out the length of our line. Yes, we know the actual dimension if everything is all flat, but unfortunately this is a 3-dimensional world, and the tide goes up and down, the boat goes up and down. We need distances. We don't want to get too tangled up, but we want to have enough to be able to. It's kind of complicated, and I'm really not going to get into it in great big detail, but I'm going to get over some of the basics of our connection of X to Y and to Z to become a PDQ.
We want a tongue in the bottom so we can see what's actually on the bottom.
Tongue the bottom, see the depth of the bottom.
Right.
In various different spots. We also maybe want to put down a center ice buoy. We're going to make an ice buoy. Do you have a 4x4 kicking around, or what?
Yeah, I got one.
You got an ice buoy already made up, or do we need to tune up, or?
Well, we just need to make the buoy and then put whatever put a sacrificial anchor on in case it leaves.
All right. What do you think that sacrificial anchor should be? A couple of cinder blocks?
Yeah, probably.
2?
Probably.
I got 2.
Yeah.
You need 3?
No.
2 will be all right.
Mm-hmm.
So we tied 2 cinder blocks together with this ice buoy, drop it over, we'll get our handheld GPS. Okay, drop it, Fred. Bombs away. And up comes the ice buoy and it'll do its thing. And obviously we'll document that and all of the above. And then we'll take the little depths of what's going on. So then we can come back to the house, back to the shop, back to the cave, back to the oyster den, back to the grotto, and we can start playing with rope. We got ourselves, a half a mile of half-inch sinking rope, 2 different types of rope. There are sinking rope and there is floating rope. I guess I should call it line from now on.
And there's wire rope.
And there's wire rope. Is it line, Fred? Is it rope? What is it? What is the actual terminology?
Well, I think they call, I don't know, but that's a good question. I think they call cable wire rope sometimes.
Okay.
But there is a thing that's actually called wire rope that is like rope with cable woven inside of it.
Oh, okay. I got you.
It looks like a
regular rope, but it's got some steel action in there.
And it's very stiff, but it's called wire rope.
And what would you use that for? Wire rope.
They use it on
like moorings?
No, I use it on moorings when I was at the yacht club, but they use it on the spools on dragging gears because it doesn't chafe like cable. It doesn't wear like cable.
It sounds like it's expensive too.
It's very expensive. It's called wire rope.
Wire rope.
Yeah.
So I had to go back to my Boy Scout days, and my father was channeling in on me last night. He was a cub master, pack master, blah, 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 blah. And I had to go to my knot badge. I had to go into my cupboard and put on my little Boy Scout outfit and put on my little knot badge. Really, I went to YouTube and I started to color code and I learned how to eye splice. A couple of different knots that we ought to be able to do. One of the first things I did when I went to work for Paul at Great Gun Oyster, God bless Great Gun, he was eye splicing stuff because his system used an eye splice. And I looked at him and I'm like, okay, I'm trying. And I try. And I'm like, no way, man, I just can't do that. And I'm trying to watch him and whatnot. Make a long story short, I never had to do it because he changed his system. And he doesn't do that anymore. So consequently, I didn't have to learn it. And I'm like, I got out of it. But now here we are a year plus later, and I got to figure out how to do it. So I went to YouTube and I figured out eye splice. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to go into great big long details. I spent an evening and sat down with a hunk of rope, and I went and got some color coded it out just to make sure and to be able. And again, I took the time to do it. And there it is, right? So there's one with color code. That was kind of like my first one I was playing with. Here's one without color code. And here comes the finished code. What did I do with that one? Oh, here it is. Finished code, bada boom. What do we got going on? We got a stainless steel long line clip, and I'll get into that in a half a second, that's put on with an eye splice onto that. The reason that we eye splice, number one, instead of a knot, we could use a buoy hitch or something like that, maybe a bowline, but it's big and it's bulky and it's got a potential maybe to come undone, but you could, whatever, but it's still, this is clean, it's smooth, you are not losing any structural integrity of the rope at all. If it's going to break, it's going to break at the clip, or the actual rope is going to break, but it's not going to happen at the knot, or the knot's going to not come undone. It's a very, very, very secure system, and it's smooth. Steel cables for railway companies. Ooh, that would be... Welcome. Sorry I'm late. No, that's okay. No need to be sorry. It's all right. You're here. Thank you, Soundtrack, for coming. So, long line clip, heavy duty. These are, we bought 100 of those. They're about $1 something a piece. They can fit up to 5/8 line, and we're dealing with half inch, and I'll get to that in a minute. It's a thing, and it is tough, man. You know those grippy things that you used to have as a kid that you squeeze together? This is a good one. Ooh, it's like a stress reliever. I think I'm gonna leave one of these on my desk just to, to get it going, man. It's tough. It's hardcore. As you can see, it's a real beef-o-rama clip. Available at Catchem Supply in New Bedford, the Fisherman's Candy Store. They make different sizes of those. They make little guys too. You see, these are the little guy. You want to see the difference between the two? Just so you know. One's for little ones, one's for big ones, right?
Tell them that.
Cool, right?
Tell them.
All right, here we go.
That actually grabs the rope and holds on to the wherever you put it to some extent.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to demonstrate that in half a second. Because I'm going to the number 2 knot of the Happy Oyster. For now, number 2 knot is called a loop.
Drop loop.
Drop loop. I forgot the name of it. Drop loop looks like this. This is going to, we're using the same size line on our bridle, which I'll get to in a second, as our trawl line, which is hooked at 100-foot lengths with loops every 16.5 feet apart, and then a leader that would come off of this bridle or whatever is going to come off of this. That's where that thing comes into play. Because this line is going to be permanent affixed to the bottom of the ocean, the bay, I guess. And this is a drop loop. I'll get into that in a second. But that's going to be every 16 seconds, 16.5 feet. And what happens, let me see if I can get this right here. And you got the guy, and it's going to go right into that thing like that. Ooh, like that. Here. And you're just going to pull, and it's going to snap right on there. Boom. Pretty cool, right? And then to get it off, you just got to squeeze it down and pull it off. Extremely tight. Now, we have a situation here of this is going to turn here, no chafe. There could be a possibility of a little bit of chafe going on here. We'll find out, we'll judge that. If need be, we might have to beef up our main line. No biggie. We're not gonna have to beef up the leader line.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
I don't think it's gonna happen either, but there is the connection from the trawl line to the cage. At ultimate goal, the big goal, and again, I set my goals like Ted Turner, unachievable. That way I'm constantly striving to achieve them. My unachievable goal is 1 million in 3 years. That means we need 1,000 of these setups. For this year, we're looking at 100,000, so I only need 100 of these setups, okay, to start with. But down the road, we need 1,000 of those. So again, you start to do the numbers, and it's just slow and steady wins the race. Right now, it's freezing cold out. I got nothing else to do. I am having the time of my life. Turn off the radio and start doing cages. I am working my ass off right now. I'm putting in 10 hours a day, no problem. But it's really not work because I'm having a great time. But loop, drop loop. This has been used in the fishing industry. It's used in all kinds of different types of lines. It's a nice, easy way to be able to do it, and you can put it on without having to cross your line or do anything. You can leave it, it can happen open. Now you're saying, why don't you just take a piece of line and do one of those kind of loopers like that? The reason is that you can't do this is it could, number one, come undone.
You can't untie it, it'll tighten up.
It'll tighten up so tight that you can't get it undone. It could tighten up so tight onto the clip.
You can't get the clip off.
We wouldn't be able to get the clip off, so now I got to cut, okay? So that's why you have to use a certain knot for a certain digs. And we do the drop loop. And it's real simple. You can make it a couple of different ways. I am not getting into that. Maybe at some other time we'll get into how to tie it. You guys can look it up. It's a fairly easy knot. It's, get a piece of rope, start playing with it is what I got to say. All right, those are the 2 very knotty things that we learned basically in the last couple of hours.
Three most important knots on a boat.
Bowling.
Bowling, clove hitch, and half hitch.
There you have it.
That's all you have to know, and you're a sailor.
And you're a sailor.
Right. Wow.
Oh no, that's a different show.
First knot you teach a kid
is a boat.
that's sailing Optimist sailboat is an 8 knot on the end of the.
Oh, the best stop knot.
Stop knot. 8 knot, figure 8 knot. That's the first knot they have to learn.
And that's a pretty easy one. It's probably easy to teach them because they know what a figure eight is and all
Yeah,
that.
but some of them are friggin' idiots, so they can't do it. But
And then it's a bowling.
then that first you teach them the 8 knot, then you teach them the bowling, then you teach them how to cleat.
Oh yeah, the cleat a boat. That's right. I forgot about that knot.
Yeah, and then you teach them a half hitch, so when you put it around a pole, you can tie it up.
So you can tie up on a pole. Yeah.
Right.
Maybe no. Yeah, absolutely.
And then I used to teach them a half hitch with 2 clove hitches onto back to the main line, so that
So it didn't come
can't
undone.
slip. Yeah,
There you go.
yeah, and then once they know that for life, and they're set.
There's something said about the old school and the rope and Boy Scouts and all that crap of yesteryear, you know?
Well,
It's just not done anymore, you know? Not a lot of people use
99% of people that have boats can't tie it up to begin with. They don't know how to do it.
And it's a shame that they don't. And you know, this is why they have these boating classes and this and that, because common sense ain't so common anymore. And it's kind of critical that people learn how to use a piece of rope, man. What if you're gonna what if you're tying a mattress on the top of your car? Or you're doing this or you're doing that. You know, you ought to learn how a couple of knots, man. It doesn't take a degree of rocket science to figure out something on.
They don't. When I used to fish off of Montauk and the tide ran 8 knots off the point there, they put their anchor out, and then the tide going by they'd put 300 feet of anchor rope out, and then the tide would push the line down, you know.
Yeah.
And then they couldn't figure out how to pull the anchor line up, so they'd end up letting it go or cutting it. So there's hundreds of anchors out there off. I used to watch them every day lose an anchor because they didn't know how to run the boat around it and pull it up.
Because it would get so wedged in there so tight that they couldn't
You can't physically lift that scope of rope
off of the ground.
and pull the boat against it because the tide's pushing it down like this.
So don't you have to like turn on your engine or something and
Yeah,
like
you
motor up to it or something?
You
Or
run around the side of it, and then you run up ahead of it, and it pulls the anchor loose, and then the tide.
but they can't figure that out.
They can't figure it out, and then they lose their anchor.
Common sense.
Yeah.
It really is if you just think about it for a half a second, and then they cut the line. So what do you tell me? We could go out there and
divers go out there a couple times a year and get 100 anchors.
100 of them.
Oh, I'm sure.
What do they do with that? Sell them?
Yeah.
We gotta talk to those guys.
And then the other place they get them is over on, what's the island out there, off Montauk?
Block Island.
Block Island, in the harbor at Block Island, there's a power cable that goes across the harbor. And they anchor up in the harbor, and then they hook onto the power cable, and they can't get their anchor. So the divers go in there, and they swim down the power cable, and they pick up 50 anchors.
Wow.
Yeah.
We should talk to that guy. We need a couple of anchors. Next step. That catch and supply that we did was rubber. This is interesting to say the least because everybody that I talk to bitches about bungee cord. And it's not just Fred the Angry Bayman that bitches about it. Paul McCormick over at Great Gun, he bitches about it. He says it's no good. But yet, what people were using it, Fred. It's like the only thing they were able to use.
Right.
You know, everybody bitches about it, but what else am I going to use? You know? So, this is the bungee material that we used to have.
How many competitors in a 100-mile distance? Well,
oh, lots. And if you you can't.
Not where we are. There's maybe 6 guys in Long Island
Yeah.
Sound.
Well, no. In the Peconic, there's quite a few boutique oyster gardeners or oyster farmers out there. 200,000 and under. I consider a boutique. Oyster farm will be a boutique oyster farm to start with. When you start getting up into big numbers, then you're going to be a bigger commercial, heavier duty. But there's a lot of little guys, and really, we should not look at it as competition. We should look at it as we're all in the same boat because Long Island oysters are the best oysters on the face of the planet. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And we're going to help to put Long Island oysters on the map, and it's going to take everybody to do it, not just me. There's no I in the word team. So please, do not look at it as competitors in any of your areas. They're friends. You should go out there and help them. The days of the watermen and of the secret areas and that's my spot and get the beep out of here. You know, those days are over, boys and girls. It is no longer there. It is now smart. Not that they're not, those other guys weren't smart. We're becoming, I hate to use the word sustainability, but this is the big buzzword that's out there, and everybody wants to do it. But aquaculture is in its infancy, and we've got to utilize what we can, and we're doing multiple things. We're taking care of the government with cleaning up the water for them. We're making it just better and producing food on Long Island. Enough of that rant. Competitors, there's no such thing. We're all buddies. And I think that should go true for not just Long Island, let's talk about Prince Edward Island, Massachusetts, Nantucket, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Virginia, Jersey, all the way down the East Coast, South Carolina, all you guys, we're all in the same boat. And we should all be friends, not look at us as competitors. We have to try to band together to do what we gotta do, and that's make a living. Pretty simple. And we can do it too. It's just not out of the question in any way, shape, or form. Next, bungee. We were talking about bungee. We went to rubber. I showed you the bungee. It was cheap. It's kind of It loses its elasticity over a period of time. You got to get it just right. It could chafe. It could break. It's just garbage. We have now went to rubber. Here's the rubber. It looks almost identical, but it's rubber. And we also changed our design on our cage, if you remember the last time. Can you see that? Yeah. We changed it up a little bit. We put a little angle here on it and that edge. So now there's our rubber cord going onto our lid. This is actually a hinge here, but you got to put it on there, and then it's clamping the whole shooting match together. We're pretty proud of our cage. Our cage is coming together really good, and it's just been constantly being modified and made better and better and better. And the big thing when you're making these cages and the bridles and the this and the that, simplicity is critical. Take the time to figure it out to make it as simple as possible. The simpler, the better. Economically, again, you got to deal with that. Usually simplicity and economically goes hand in hand. Sometimes it doesn't. And durability. Is it going to last? How tough is it? Those are the three biggies with this gear stuff. And I'm having a good time designing gear. I like gear work. Some people hate it. I love it. But I've always been a kind of a mechanical dude. All right, what else you got, Frederick? Did I cover all of that? Oh, I'll show you the quick, I got a new tool this week too.
Show them the burner.
Yeah, I didn't show them the burner. I'm gonna show them the burner right now.
Show them how the rubber comes on the roof.
Oh, the roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll show you that. The rubber is, I think, less money than bungee too. All right. This thing is plugged in too. All right. To cut rope, again now, you're going to have to be cutting lengths of rope and hundreds of lengths, and they're exactly the same length, and you got to keep everything as standard as possible, and try to, so you need to be able to cut rope on a production basis. Not a lot of people do have to cut rope on a production basis. Let me get a piece of cheap stuff. I don't want to use my good stuff. I'm going to use this crappy old black pot warp we got going on. It's 1/2 inch, but it'll work. This is you would, set up your workbench accordingly. And you would, set it out and boom, and then put it up to here. And this is a rope burner. Oh, you can't see. Come in a little tighter maybe. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. And you just kind of roll it along on there, give it a little shot. It automatically takes care of it. Don't breathe that shit in. Pretty nice, right? It's just, Tootsie Roll. Whatever you want. Sweet. Gotta have it. Must have tool. Approximate cost is somewhere around 150 bucks, 125 bucks, somewhere in that neighborhood. Well worth it. I mounted it onto the board. That way I know where it is. Oh, you know what? Another new trick. Anything that I get nowadays, if it's a tool or whatnot, and it comes with a case or this, I just take the whole instruction sheet and fold it up very neatly, and I taped it right on the edge. Just a quickie. That way, if you ever need the instructions, you got it. You know, that kind of thing. Oops, sorry. There you go. Bada boom. And the last thing Freddie was talking about, showing you, was the roll of rubber. This is how the rubber comes. And then you peel it off like a, what is that? That fruit strip, that stuff the kids eat. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? Pretty neat, right?
The rubber has no lining like bungee.
It's 40 bucks for that. And I'm getting,
It's 150 feet.
is that what it is? 150 feet and
Approximately.
yeah, I cut roughly about, we're getting about 60 out of a roll for the bridles. I've cut all for the latches, I should say, not bridles. Oh, you should use, instead of using the pneumatic lock ring, not hog ring, I got a set of regular hog ring pliers. Cheers, Todd. You going out? I'm leaving too. I got a bunch of stuff. And we got single pack hog rings, stainless, for the hog ring plier. It's kind of a pain in the ass process, but you got to do what you got to do, and it sits right into there. It's not like the pneumatic guy, and then it squishes it right around whatever you got to do. Pretty neat.
You can control the squish.
Exactly, like Fred said, you can control the amount of smush factor on there, so that way it's not choo-choo, and it's like could maybe possibly.
Fuck with rubber.
So you got to do a little feel action, you know what I mean? Will the rubber last? I think the rubber's going to last a hell of a lot longer than the bungee cord, that is for sure. There is no UV problem with our situation because it's underneath the drink. And will it degrade in salt water remains to be seen. It has been used for a little over a year, and the guys are liking it. This is coming from the guys at the supply store, and so we gotta, you know what? You gotta go with somebody's experience. You gotta listen. I'm not saying that everybody's always right and this one and that one and everything else, but you gotta really listen, and you gotta make an educated decision for yourself on whether or not you think that their ideas are right. But again, the more people you talk to, the better off you are. And that's our idea here, and we're trying to spread the word to everybody else that wants to become an oyster farmer. So please don't forget to rate, comment, and or subscribe to the Happy Oyster. Logo situation is right around the corner. I should have something to show you next week. With a little bit of luck, I should have our new business cards are in. Things are really starting to get going with the Happy Oyster Show, Happy Oyster Company. I'm really getting excited for 2019. I smell it. We got to get an email into our buddy over there, Soren Dahl at DEC. Soren Dahl at DEC, that's what we're waiting on for our permit for 2019. You know, these DEC guys, everybody gets a bum rap on these. Everybody gives the DEC guys a bum rap. Now, I got to say, DEC is understaffed. And I'm starting to learn all of this, and I'm starting to figure it all out. And again, it's a whole new business for me and whatnot. But again, I'm a business guy first, and then I'm an oysterman. So I'm looking at this whole shooting match as a business guy and trying to figure it all out. And, you know, the permitting and the regulation is just absolutely absurd. But I understand this is the way it is, and you have to play by the rules and win. That's my philosophy all my life, and that's the way I go. I play by the rules, guys, period. End of discussion. So how do we make the rules work to make it to our advantage? There's no sense of getting pissed off and upset and yell and scream and this and that. Understand the system and go from there. The system is that the DEC guys are way underpaid, and I am the last guy to give anybody a raise in terms of the government. But the DEC guys do not get paid enough money. So consequently, they have been overburdened with all this stuff that they keep shoving on them, just like the normal Joe that's working for the lizard boss. And this guy just goes, and he just gets really bogged down. So hug your DEC officer, guys. He needs a hug. He needs a pat on the back. He doesn't need us bitching at him. We got to try to, I'm not going to say kiss their ass, but you got to, you know.
I used to like throwing them in the water.
Fred the Angry Bayman. This is what makes us, yin and yang over here, The Angry Bayman took the guy and threw him in the water, and then they wonder why they're trying to hunt him down. These are yesteryears, and we're not. It's fun to listen to it, though. It's funny and it's here, But let's go to the future and help these guys as much as we possibly can by following their regulations and understanding what the situation and why the regulations are in place. If we all understand why the regulations are in place, maybe it's going to understand and then make their job easier, and in turn, their job easier, which makes our job easier. Whew. Enough. Preaching. Did I preach enough today? What did I do with my things? I went over funding. We got a new round of funding coming up next month. That's good because our old round of funding has been evaporated. Not really. We've invested in it. And I'm very happy with the way that it went. We're on target. Official. Catch 'em supply. Cold ice. Bowling. Square knot. Half hitch. Cleat. Spice. Buoy hitch. Splice. I'm done for today.
The boat's going on the water the next couple months.
Yeah.
Soon.
It's got to warm up a little bit. We got to get a coat of bottom paint on there. We got caught with our pants down there a little bit. Some other stuff. Again, it's.
No, we don't want to babysit it anyway.
Yeah.
So.
And we got to go over there and talk to that dude, and maybe we can get in there and boat slip is going to be the next thing that's going to be not a pay. We got some options. It's nice and early, so and last year we were thinking, oh man, well. We don't need it right now, and thank God we hunted around and we sniffed around last year, and I was getting close to pulling the trigger because I thought for sure we were going to need a boat slip immediately, and it didn't happen. So that was a good thing. We did that. Thank you, Artie, Mike. I like having you on my show. Loving it.
I got a boat slip, but it's in the wrong bay.
Yeah. But we're working on that too, and that's another thing that the DEC and regulations and government, Town of Southampton needs to come around. Yeah, they need to get their head out of where and start smelling the coffee a little bit. It's nothing but good, is the bottom line. Aquaculture is nothing but good. I still trying to figure out the bad avenue, and I'm having a really, really difficult time.
All their arguments don't. All the bad arguments for it, they don't float because as long as they don't put it in the middle of a bathing beach where there's 1 million people swimming, there's not enough boats out there in the bay anymore to make it a hazard to boat navigation, and most of the time it's nowhere near the channel, and it's marked. So all of their arguments against it are just, it's bureaucratic bullshit.
Exactly.
That's the bottom line. There's nothing about it.
And it's our job and everybody else's job that likes oysters and loves oysters to get out there and make sure everybody knows it. All right, I got nothing more. Frederick, good to see you.
Yeah.
Had a great show. We're having a great week. I hope you guys will tune in. Next week, we're on every single Saturday at 10 a.m. Continue on. Plan.
Right.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Don't forget to rate, comment, and/or subscribe. Please share it with your buddies. Come on over to our Instagram. We've been posting some stuff up over there. It's a lot of fun. Bring it on home. End the thumbs up. We'll see you next week. Adios. Bink. Off. It doesn't work when it's in the thing. You gotta take it out.